Man, it's just every time. See now, Peanut. See now. Let's see. All right. So hopefully that YouTube link is up now. I'm over here dropping the ball because I'm over here trying to rush to get this up. But definitely like so creating, that desire and that purpose, has now we're good. Okay, so we're good on YouTube. So and you can tell your family that too. Sorry, brother. You can tell your family we're back on YouTube. Um,
Mhm.
so on this road, on this journey, with the signs and seeing things, and love is a parable. I remember watching one of the videos of your interview, and you were talking about how 2014 was like that creation period, but also the time where you were going through a lot. You and your wife were going through some things, and that could have been the time when you thought that it was a dead end. Based on that, I wanted to
Yeah.
ask if you could go there and talk about that you called it your lowest moment. It was like a lowest moment in your life. I wanted to know if you could go in there, because a lot of us think that we have these dead ends in our life, but it's really just construction.
Yeah. In 2014,
Mm-hmm.
I was working for a university and I ended up losing my position because things changed.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I ended up moving to Holly Springs, North Carolina. I took up a position with a college in the area, and I was living in Holly Springs. Like, oh, Holly Springs. It sounded like it's like a little small town,
Sound
not
good.
knowing that Holly Springs was two times more expensive than Columbia, South Carolina, where we moved
Mm.
up here from.
Mm-hmm.
And I ran into some things where we had our home was a new construction in South Carolina, so we couldn't sell it at the time. We
Mm-hmm.
couldn't rent it at the time because it was part of the county, not the city. So we had to get
Yeah.
all of these special like approvals just to either rent or sell the home.
Mm-hmm.
And before you knew it, it turned into like 6 months. And so I took this job. Keep in mind, I'm making $35,000 less,
Yeah. Wow.
living in a town that costs two times more
Mm.
than the town I left, and
Mm-hmm.
I have to maintain two households.
Mm.
So it got to a point where we had 60 cents, 60 or 40 cents, I can't remember, 60 or 40 cents in
Yeah.
our checking savings. That's all we had to our name. And I
Wow.
remember going outside and I called myself praying, but it really was just crying, man. Like,
Yeah.
it's one thing to not to be able to take care of yourself because you like, if you by yourself, $20, you can
Mm-hmm.
stretch that thing.
Right.
But when
You
you
can.
have small children and a wife depending on you and she's not working, so it's
Mm-hmm.
solely you,
Yeah.
man, I cried, man. I can't tell you how long I was just out there crying. And I remember saying, like, oh, Heavenly Father, or something, just to
Mm-hmm.
make it feel like I was praying, but I really wasn't praying. I was just crying.
You was crying. You was
Man,
crying.
that hiccup crying, man.
Oh, that's
And
that's that deep cry.
right. And while I was coming up, it came to me, you're looking for seeds when the seed can be quantified.
Say that one more time. Say that one more
And
time.
you're looking for seeds
Uh-huh.
when the seed can be quantified.
When the seed can be quantified. Come on.
So naturally being, connected to my faith, I just started to like, okay, let me study everything. And I started studying the parables first. And
Mm-hmm.
then I started just going on wherever it took me. If there was a word, I began studying that word. I started looking up articles. The list goes
Yeah.
on and on. And I'm a poet too. So
Mm-hmm.
when inspiration hit me,
Mm-hmm.
I would then write whatever that is. And I noticed that I was ending it with love is a parable.
Mm.
And about 3.5 years later, my life drastically changed. I got promotions and all of that stuff. And I told my
Yeah.
wife I was at a place where I wanted to give back. And she was like, well, what is the idea? What do you want to do? And I said, I just want to do random acts of kindness. That was the initial
Mm.
thought. And she
Yeah.
said, well, what we're going to call it? And I said, love is a parable.
Mm.
And she said,
Come
I
on.
love that. And she said, I'm
Yeah.
in.
Yeah.
And that's how Love is a Parable initially started. But what was interesting, we started ordering merchandise. My brother created some mock-up designs and sent them to us so we could feel and all of that.
Yeah.
And we had this good friend because we were in a play as well. And we told her, like, we're going to start a nonprofit in about 6 months, but we want you to be one of the ones to have one of the original shirts. So when we launch, you already ready.
Yeah.
Well, she ended up wearing that shirt to a closing night of a performance. And we woke up the next day to like 500, 600 phone calls. Like, how can I get a shirt? How can I do this? And how can I do that?
Wow.
And that's when it started to become the realization of people talk so much about having multiple streams of income, but that doesn't mean multiple sources. You can have one source that has many arms that can give you that multiple streams of income that you're talking about. And so a lot of people don't realize that we are the seeds and the harvest of what was given to us. So people have sown into our lives. So we're the seeds and we give out seeds, but we're also the harvest, somebody's manifestation of what was spoken to us. And so we don't realize a lot of times that we are the multifaceted streams or sources of income, because just like a tree has many branches, we have many things that we could do.
Yeah, come on. He's speaking that fire.
I was writing my second book at the time, but I didn't realize that second book was actually a training manual on showing people how to identify love.
Wow. And
that's when Love is a Parable switched again and became an organization that actually helped people identify love. So in turn, they will be cognizant of doing random acts of kindness, but ultimately being kind. So it was morphing on its own. And I remember saying, like, I found my purpose. I found what I'm supposed to do. Yeah. Every talent, every gift, every skill that I had went into Love is a Parable. And when I tell you the gates of hell opened up, bro,
I believe it.
We're still under attack. Like the last 4 years,
wow.
I thought that I was at my low point in 2014. But it is nothing compared to what I did, what I go through now that I commit to purpose.
Come on. Dang. So it just got, so once you committed to the purpose, the whole game changing, it came, the attacks came on stronger, right?
Right. Wow. And what I tell a lot of people sometimes is that, see, the reason why you're not attacked when you're not in purpose, because you're not a threat. But when you become a threat, all eyes are on you, not necessarily to see you win, but to make sure that you don't disrupt something that shouldn't be there and shouldn't be in place. So people are going to question everything about you, question what you're doing, question your motive and all of that. But when you're fine-tuning your purpose, the only thing that you give them back is purpose. See, purpose breeds purpose.
Say that again. I don't want them to miss it, but I love it. Come on.
So it's like people are going to question you on everything that you do. So our natural defense is to defend ourselves. But you don't have to defend yourself when you're in purpose. You just speak purpose.
Come on. I like that. I like that. So I want so man, you're so powerful. Like the words, when I say he's powerful, I'm not talking about physical strength. I'm talking about when I listen to him and I've listened to his interviews, like the words that come out are just powerful. They build. He doesn't seem like the type to break down people with his words. And that's the love that is within him. I love what you're saying about love is a parable, because, you know, being a Christian, I thought about, you know, parables, you know, and like parables meaning many things. Like it's really like when you read a parable, you know, you have to inquire about the meaning of the parable. That's why he spoke in parables. He was like, well, I spoke in parables, so it wouldn't be in plain English, right? Like where you're speaking so everybody can understand. But the ones who want to inquire about what you're saying, the ones who want to understand the deeper meanings. Like when you said that we are the seed and the streams are coming from us, that is so powerful because it takes it from looking out into the world, to looking in to yourselves,
Right.
So I think that's very powerful, very powerful. And I had
Well,
go
I
ahead.
wanted to clarify just a little bit because that is one of the parts of why, the Messiah spoke in parables.
Mm-hmm.
But the other part is there would have been something that is said or spoken that resonated with you. And because it resonated with you, you would know then that you have a certain ear to hear things that other people are not hearing. So it was
Okay.
actually a vetting mechanism as well. It's kind of like when you
Ooh.
go around your family, when you're
Hmm.
in your family dynamic, when you go to your mom's house or go to your grandma's house, there are certain words that are used that like for instance, if I go to my mama house and she say, all right now, for those who don't understand,
Right.
they don't know what that means, but those who are in the house understand that you are pushing it.
The
So
signs.
for everybody, huh?
I said the signs. It's
Right. So for
yeah.
people who understand it, they began to say, okay, that all right now means
Mm-hmm.
something. Well,
Yeah.
that's the same thing that the Messiah was doing with scripture. With scripture,
Mm-hmm.
everyone isn't going to understand it. Even the things that they think are plainly make sense. Those who have an ear will hear differently, and those who have an eye will see differently, and it
Mm.
will speak and resonate to them in a different way. And that's why love is the same way.
Yeah.
Love will resonate with people differently who actually can identify with it, and some will dismiss it who don't. They'll say, "Why y'all doing all that?"
Mm-hmm. You right. Y'all ain't gotta
Yeah.
do all that.
They're
Y'all
like,
ain't
"Why
gotta
you got
do
to
all
do all
that.
that?"
Right.
Right.
That's real though. That's real. And Lakeisha, she's saying, preach, brother, preach. Elijah, what's going on? I speak to them who know the law. Paul, facts. So
Fact.
and I love what you're saying. And like we've been talking about this. I feel like we're on this journey in a way because we talked about the U-turning and like the dead end and the under construction. And when I just listened to the interview that you did with someone, I was like, man, you've been on your own journey, and like you're saying now, you're still going on this journey, and things aren't just getting better, things are getting a little more intense, now at this
Exactly.
new level. I want to ask, with this change of intensity, with the things that you are facing, adversities, how has it been going through COVID and running this nonprofit organization, Love is a Parable, or this initiative, Love is a Parable?
Now, the interesting thing is COVID actually propelled us. Like last year
Mm-hmm.
was actually our best year. And one of the things that I do tell people, like, not a dig at TD Jakes, you know how he always like, get ready, get ready, get ready, get ready.
Yep, yep.
But the truth of the matter is, if you are ready, you will never have to get ready.
Mm,
And purpose always prepares you for purpose. Purpose
mm,
breeds purpose. Purpose prepares you for purpose. Purpose is always present. So you don't have to do anything else. So when things started happening during COVID, I had 19 years of experience in higher ed. The last 5 to 7 years were in higher ed. I'm in virtual learning.
mm-hmm. Mm.
So it was my
Yeah.
natural safe space.
Yeah.
So when we transitioned, they were like, "Oh, this don't stop anything. Let's
Yeah.
get to virtual learning." And so I was prepared to navigate through the virtual space and not skip
Mm-hmm.
a beat. And it taught us a lesson on how to stretch out our reach. It almost was like I was thinking about the scripture when the Messiah said, "Launch out your net."
Yeah.
Sometimes we don't know what we're gonna do until we just reach out there, man, and
Yeah.
you pull back more than just fish.
You're right. Come on. I'm about to throw my shoe at you. I ain't even got on shoes right now. I'm at home. You about to make me throw my shoe at you. He said you throw your net out there, and sometimes you bring back more than fish. That is powerful. Oh man, you kicking me in my shin, man. I'll tell you that, because like when we go through this life, people don't think that like, oh, he's love is a parable. I see pictures of you, you're smiling. Like people look at us, they're like, oh, they're always doing their purpose. They're in their purpose. They can't be going through anything. They can't be going through roads that look like it's a dead end, but is really under construction. They can't be in my situation. But no, we're choosing to do things differently in our situations, right? So that mindset. So what kind of mindset do you have as, a Christian man, as one of faith, as one that's been through different trials and tribulations? Like, what kind of mindset have you had in order to endure and get to where you are right now?
To be honest, like, you got to have one of light and resurrection. And I want to be, it's not so much what will kill you, it's what can you come back from.
Okay.
And so many times we get caught up in something trying to take us out, but we forget we got the ability to come back. And so it is, you want to die 1,000 times. You want to die to the flesh. You want to die to the lies. You want to die to the neglect. You want to die to the abuse. You want to die to all those things, to where it gets to a point where they don't even affect you anymore. But then when you resurrect, you stay tuned in what you are, and you'll realize that you have this inner light, man. This inner light that will expose all types of darkness, even in the ones that you cherish the most.
Yeah.
And you just have to be in a position and be prepared to realize that your light will expose anyone. And at any point in your journey, you may lose people.
Yeah.
People that you may have never expected that you would lose, or any of that. But the only thing that you can stay committed to is your purpose. So when people come and go, you got to look at them as casualties of light, casualties of purpose, because a lot of them can't handle you in that purpose, purpose-filled position.
That purpose-filled position. I love that, because it speaks to, this journey that we have, and people think, oh, well, I'm going to have everybody rolling with me. Everybody's going to be rooting me on because I'm pursuing my purpose, but not everybody, will be in that position. And I love what you're saying there. And I just see, like, you telling us that we have so much light within us, and this light will push and expose the darkness, right? Because if it exposes it kind of pushes it out of the way,
Right.
And then also, what about the importance of understanding the value of the light within us? A lot of people don't have access to the light of self-identity, self-worth, because of the lies that they've told themselves over the years, because of what they've been through, right? Like, all the trauma that we go through can make us a certain kind of person. And then we tell ourselves lies based on that voice, based on that person that we became. That voice starts to speak to us and say, oh yeah, you're XYZ. Oh yeah, you're this and that, So what word of encouragement would you like to share with people right now who are on this purpose journey, and they're their backs against the wall, and they can't find that light within, and all the negative talk is happening around them? What advice do you have for them?
Well, the first part is, here's the part about lies that people don't want to admit. What makes a lie is that a lie has to be based off of truth. If there is no truth connected to it, it will not be a lie. Now, we have to determine what part of it is the truth that made it a lie. See, a lot of times we give people permission to not only trespass in our lives, but we give them permission to create narratives because we subscribe or either co-sign to those narratives that were presented. So if you are in an environment that is constantly negative, but you are not a negative person, because you didn't speak out against the negative and you allowed the negative, you can be perceived as a negative. So to a certain extent, you are a negative person because you allow negativity in your presence. And so we can't get caught up on intention, because intention means nothing. We got to look at root and impact, meaning what is at the core And what is the end result? So if the end result is negativity, but my intention is not to cause negativity, I either need to look at my root or I need to look at my impact. And if I'm looking at my impact and saying, well, negativity is coming from me,
Come on.
from the vicinity of me, so therefore I need to re-examine my root and make sure, am I rooted in negativity or am I rooted in positivity? And so examine that root. A lot of times people say dismiss the lie. No, don't dismiss the lie. Dissect
Examine
the
the
lie
lie.
and find the truth.
Right. Come on.
Once you find the truth, you can get rid of the lie.
Come on. Come on. I'm over here trying to. You said examine the root, right? Examine the root.
Yeah, examine the lie, examine it and find the root, find the truth, and then you can move past that. A lot of people don't know how to do that part because guess what? Our feelings get hurt. We get emotionally involved in saying, and we try to defend the lie because they say, oh, that's not them. People are going to believe what they want to believe. That's not your responsibility.
Facts.
You just got to make sure that that lie is nowhere within you.
Come on. Don't let it be found inside of you.
Right.
Man, you speak that word. You be preaching on Sundays and stuff or what? You had a church packed. I know that. You had a church packed. He had a whole church pack. If y'all loving this, please make sure y'all like and share because he is speaking truth. He is speaking truth. You should say speaking truth. Love is a parable. Speaking truth and love is. We're gonna start a group called Speaking Truth. But but no, I love what you stand for and like that power that you carry, you know, with you despite what you've gone through. I love people who have gone through stuff. I don't celebrate that you've been through stuff. I love people that have gone through stuff because I can relate with them even more because they know what it's like to hit those dead ends, to make those U-turns and to diverge on roads because of under construction. And it looks like it's a dead end. It looks like the road is shut down. Right. And I could just recall a time when I was feeling suicidal. And like you said, when you don't have purpose within you, like that there is no other like meaning, like there's no other fight that's coming against you. It's kind of like you fighting against your own thoughts and your own insecurities. And just because of the trauma that we went through, we battle with that. And we wonder like why, we wonder like how, we wonder all of those things. And a lot of people who have purpose have gone through some purposeful trauma that has brought purpose to their life so that they can free people. So how are you using, you know, let's say your testimony to help free people from what they're going through so that they won't diverge from the roads that are under construction?
First part is I'm very honest, open, and transparent. I don't believe in lying to people, and I don't believe in setting people up for failure. And one of the things that a lot of people think is once you find your purpose, it's like all your problems go away. No, they don't. They intensify. And then there are a lot of things that people want you to believe that you have to compromise in order to continue to live this. So the first thing that we got to dispel, a couple of lies we got to dispel, is that you have purpose whether you have acknowledged it or not. So even like when you're talking about in your suicidal moments, in your low moments, your purpose was there. You just didn't acknowledge it.
Right.
You know, your purpose was there. And so when we talking about that part is that you really don't fight against anything, you surrender. When you don't live a purpose life, you don't fight, you surrender, you give over to like, oh, let me try this, or let me do this, or let me do that, or let me do that. Why? Because you're like, oh, this is fun, or this is cool. I'm escaping. Right. I don't want to deal with the things that I'm dealing with. But when you start to find purpose, you start to find fight because the conditioning is removing those layers that had your purpose buried. So as you remove that, you're becoming conditioned to develop the fighter that is within you. And so now you can stand with people and say, no, that's not me.
Right.
That's not me. That's not me. That's not me. And most importantly, you can have conversations. There's some people that come up to me and say, Jay, I remember when you said blah, blah, blah. And I immediately say, I apologize because that wasn't even me.
Right. Come on.
That was a version of me, but it wasn't even me. My bad.
It wasn't me. It wasn't this version of me.
Right. And
Jay,
people
wait,
are good. Go ahead.
No, because you're killing me, dog. You ain't slowing down. My neck all tense because I'm over here shrugging my shoulders because it's so good and I'm snapping my fingers and stuff. But bro, so I just talked to a mentor from my work, and he was
Uh-huh.
talking about, burying the old you. Like if that skeleton is still there and it's taunting you and it's telling you like, oh, you're never going to be good, or you're never going to be a good father, a good husband, a good man, a good leader. Like it's like that skeleton says, hey, look at your trauma and look at your past and look, but he was like, is that where you are now? And I was like, no, that's no longer who I am. Like, I really feel like that old me has passed away, so like, is that how you feel in this moment of your life? Even though you're going through some intense things, do you feel like there's the skeleton there, like the trauma, the things that you've been through, is it still there, or have you buried it?
That's an interesting take on it. And
Mm-hmm.
I'm not necessarily, I definitely won't refute that, put it that way. But I
Okay.
definitely do believe that it's probably the framing of it.
Mm-hmm.
See, because I tend to look at words a little differently.
Mm-hmm.
And everything that I've been through for a purpose, but it no longer defines me.
Okay.
And it's no longer my identity.
Mm-hmm.
And I try not to forget what I've been through, because that is actually the fuel to connect somebody who's going through. Like
Facts.
sometimes we'll go, you know what I'm saying? Like sometimes we'll go through and we're like, that's no longer me.
Mm-hmm.
But and then we'll forget how we felt when we were going through. And when you see a person that's going through, like how many times you hear people smile, you got to get out of that. You got to think this, you got to think that. No, think as a person who's going
Right.
through,
Who's going through
identify
it?
with that pain, and then help them
Mm-hmm.
push through. So I try
Right.
not to forget the things that I've been through or going
Mm-hmm.
through, so I can use that relative experience to impact somebody else's life.
Yeah.
So the only difference now is the trauma that I've been through is no longer my identity.
Right.
But I definitely keep that arsenal in the bag, because you
Mm-hmm.
don't know who may be going through, and they may
Yeah.
not see the changed you, but they
Mm-hmm.
could identify with the going through you,
To
and you can
going through
pull that
you.
out and say, okay, this is where I was.
Yeah.
And it's okay to show them that.
Mm-hmm. The hand.
Because you
The
better
hole in
believe,
the
if
hand.
you don't weaponize your past,
The
somebody
hole
will
in the
try to
hand.
demonize it. I'm
You
trying to
right.
tell you.
You right. You right. And when I say bury, we're not talking about completely wiping out your past. We're talking
Right,
about the exact thing that you're talking about, being able to, that thing no longer, the skeleton no longer has power over you. When we say bury it, it means that it no longer, like the dead have no power. We got to understand that everybody that I've lost in my life, people that I've seen die, they no longer have the human strength of power to do anything physically, right? So when we
right,
bury that skeleton, when we bury that trauma, we're no longer giving it power to decide how we live our life today. So now the person today is no longer the person we used to be, right? So that person
right.
is dead and gone. But I remember when I went there, I remember. So I love what you said about, when people are going through something, we're like, you got to get through it. You got to move through it. Like, I never want to be that kind of speaker, motivational speaker, that mentor anyone, because that lacks empathy. People who are like, let's go, keep moving. Like, that's military. Military, they lack empathy. If you're bleeding, your leg's broken, get up, let's go, let's keep moving. Right? That's what a lot of people want us to do after we've been beaten down and battered by life. But so I'm definitely glad that we're having this conversation, because love is a parable, and love being the thing that we look at today, and learning to just move forward with love, and having that power of love. We have to talk about the trauma. We have to talk about people who are looking for their purpose, because we're all in different moments of our lives. So that's what I want to say there. But that was a great commentary right there, man. I love that. I love that. And I wanted to recognize, Benedict College, because my brother is a graduate from Benedict College. He was back in the day, probably like, I think it was like 2004, maybe he graduated from Benedict College. So I wanted to shout out Benedict College and all the alumni and alumnus out there. Shout out to you guys. Do you want to give a special shout out to your
Yeah, I
peeps
want
out
to know who
there?
your brother is, because I actually graduated in 2003 from Benedict College.
Ooh, okay. So, Brian, well, we'll talk about it offline. I want to put him out there. People might try to find him. I'm just playing. But yeah, he's a Simmons. And I'm gonna make sure I got that date right. I just guessed, but he said, "Can you quickly redefine love as a parable?" Okay. Thanks, Jim. Appreciate you. Meaning Forge. He says, "Can you quickly redefine love as a parable?"
Quickly redefine it. Love as a parable is basically love, for those who recognize it, will have an ear. Those who have an eye will see it. For those who don't, they will always dismiss it. So love is very much a parable, and it's designed for those who believe in it.
It's designed for those who believe in it. And it, like, if you guys missed it, we were talking about parables, and I had mentioned that, people who really wanted to understand, they would inquire. But he also stated about having the ear to hear it, to test people, not I guess to test, but to see if people have the ear to hear what you're saying, or those things attract us. So if you move in love, you attract people who move in love. And I feel like that's how I came across you. Like I started the Purpose Pod, did not know who I was going to interview or what it was going to look like, but we're in season 2, and I have you on here, and I feel so connected with you, even though we haven't had any Krispy Kreme yet. We haven't had no Dunkin' Donuts. No, let's go to what we got, Chick-fil-A, we got Starbucks. We haven't hit any of those places, but we're gonna do it. We're in the same area, so we're definitely gonna link. And Jim from Meaning Forge, he can definitely link with us too. He's out here in the area as well, okay. Well, closer by. So I want to jump into the question part, because I kind of just started asking him questions because I wanted to poke him from information, because I just seen him drop so much wisdom, and I wanted to attack that wisdom really quick, because I'm one who thirsts for wisdom. So I want to start here, and we're going to skip through the journey to purpose. And Jim, I just want to let you know, brother, I have a little layout: journey to purpose, finding your purpose, and walking in your purpose. I have a layout thanks to Meaning Forge, because of his expertise. But we're in finding your purpose. He said, "Love to link up." See what I did there? I see what you did there. All right. So what does purpose in itself, like, because we had to start over. We had a lot of stuff going on. But for the people who are watching now, I want them to know, what does purpose mean to you?
Purpose means to me is really your it's your core foundation of what you are created to be and do.
You said the core of what you were created to be and do?
The core foundation of what you were created to be and do.
Okay. And I love the core foundation, because it's not the end all be all of who you are and what you have to do in this world, right? Mm-hmm. And you talked about those different streams, coming from us. How does that play in your life? What are all the streams? You're a poet. I seen he got videos on YouTube, y'all. Y'all got to check him out. He got videos on YouTube. He dropping poetry. He got the videos nice and lined up. He's doing what I wish I was doing right now. So what are those other areas in your life where you're using love in your gifts and talents? Like, what do you do? So you have a Fiverr. I know you help people on Fiverr. I kind of saw that out there. So what else do you do?
Yeah. I do, of course, motivational speaking, but most of the things that I do center around some form of education. I already talked about it being a poet. I'm an actor, singer. I do graphic design.
Yeah.
I just make myself available. But that was the interesting thing. Like, it took me so long to realize that I'm really an educator of some sort. So when people say, "Oh, you're a dynamic speaker," like, yes, I may be, but I am an educator. And it took me a long time to realize that I am a teacher. I'm an educator, and that's my core foundation. So I'm always going to do something. Like, my foundation is teaching. So my branches are a result of the things that I teach, the things that I do. So it always go back to that. And it was funny because some people, I had a friend, I was sitting on their show, and they were talking about how your purpose changes. And I was like, I disagree with that. I don't think your purpose changes. Right. I think the way that you express your purpose may change because that is very fluid.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think your core foundation of who you were created to be will change.
Yeah, I agree.
And
I
so,
agree.
and I think a lot of people don't understand it, because you get some people who would get so caught up in those branches, and they will sit there and look at those branches and say, see, you were meant to be this. And you're like, yeah, but I only like doing that sometimes. Like, how many
Right.
singers have you met that don't really like singing? How
Right.
many writers have you met that don't really like writing? How many actors you
Mm-hmm.
like that don't really like the stage? They're like, well, I really want to be behind the camera, or I really want to do that. Yeah,
Yeah.
because you can't get caught up in the branches. You got to get to the root of things.
You got to get to the root of things. What does that look like, looking for the root of things? Like, so for me, like I do the podcast, I do my own little, you see my little graphics by you, I got good graphics, right? Like I did a good job with the flyer, you know what I'm saying? Like I got my thing set
You
up.
did an amazing job.
I appreciate it. You know, I'm trying to make y'all proud out there. But you know, so I feel like like my friend Tracy, she calls us visionaries, right? Like we're visionaries, like we're people who we continuously can create things. And you know, I remember hearing that with your poetry, that was how you got through a lot of things. And I resonated with that so much, because my poetry is how I got through PTSD and the suicidal thoughts. And you know, like I was able to write down what I was feeling, and I was able to see it. It was almost like that light that you're talking about was able to shine because I exposed it by writing it down. Right. What kind of power do you get from, and Meaning Forge loves to talk about the pen and the sword, right? The pen and the sword, forging the sword. But what kind of power has poetry given you?
Oh man. I always tell this story. In 7th grade, I was on a 5th grade reading level. They thought that I had a reading disorder, but they later found out I had this wonderful teacher named Miss Akpusani. Miss Akpusani found out that it wasn't reading, but it was comprehension. And I have a unique way of, like, I can't read to myself and comprehend. I have to read out loud, or I have to hear it, and then I can retain that information. Miss Akpusani did that with me, man.
Mm-hmm.
I went from a 5th grade reading level to a 9th grade reading level in 1 year.
Wow.
And so the way that I look at words, all of that stuff changed. And so words began to come to me differently. And I always love the way that people chose word dynamics. And we're taught in grammar that, you know, a group of words form a sentence that develop a complete thought.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I've always felt that words independently were complete thoughts, and it was the relationship that they shared with the other words.
Come
And
on, poet.
I didn't know until I started studying Hebrew, and that's exactly how Hebrew words are formed. Each letter is a complete thought, and that one word is a relationship. So by the time you get to a sentence, you're really looking at a community. And so that's why when I choose words with intention, choose words with purpose. And I had a teacher, Miss Hall, in 8th grade. She introduced spoken word to me. And she was like, y'all got an assignment, man. And the very first poem that I wrote was Pop Pop. And from there on, I always use poetry, and I began to look and listen to the rhythm of language, the rhythm of words, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And
like
before
that.
you know it, it got out of me because I was molested at 11.
Wow.
And it was through poetry that I began to express myself. Because if you think about it, it becomes music. It becomes song. It goes on and on. Words are so powerful because there's never not a time where words did not exist or a part of the equation.
Yeah. Come on. That's
and
powerful.
So, man, words, I love words.
That's powerful. And I'm gonna get to your question, Jim. I'm gonna get to your question. But first and foremost, thank you for sharing that. Like you said, he says he loves to just be honest and truthful and just share. So I really do appreciate you sharing that, because a lot of people go, like, when I talk to people, I want people to understand that people are just real. We go through real stuff, and you see the going through product. This ain't the finished product. We're the going through product. And we have yet to arrive. We will never arrive fully, to our purpose, because there's just a lot of doing while you're on this earth. You better do it.
Right.
You better do what you were purpose here to do. So I'm glad that you were able to work through that traumatic experience and allow your purpose to live within you, because like you said, the purpose was already within you. It's just discovering the purpose within us, is the thing that we have to do a lot of times. So what advice could you give to people who have gone through, my babysitter, when I was about 6 or 7 years old, she made me suck her breasts, and that memory just came back to me like within the last year or so. And I was like, I told my wife, I was like, man, I just had this thing just popped up in my mind. And I was like, whoa, what was that? And it kind of like, stirred some things up a little bit inside of me. But I recognize that there are a lot of people who go through things like that, and, other things, with as children. So could you just give some words of encouragement to people out there who may have gone through that same thing that you or I have been through? And, maybe like something that they could do, like, is it prayer? Is it connecting with the community? Like what kind of advice would you give to them?
And adding to what Meaning Forward said, do you feel that poetry is able to stretch your understanding of complex ideas? I think exactly that. I think that that's what poetry is the stretching of complex ideas. That's why people can have a concept and break that concept down to mean so many different things, and you look at it so differently. It took me a minute to accept and acknowledge what happened to me. A lot of times we spend more time defending. You'd be surprised that that area of defense hinders us from our own healing. There was a meme out or something like that. I couldn't heal because I was pretending that I wasn't sick. And a lot of times we do that. We pretend that things don't bother us when they really do, when we need to just take a moment to think about it. But where does this come from? All of us have what are called a sacred box. And a sacred box is nothing more than values that you have tucked away and you swore to protect because they are things that you value. You don't really, for a lot of us, we don't know what these values are. We just know to protect them because the focus got off of like, ooh, look at this gem and what it is, to protect it. Like, have you ever had a conversation with someone, conversation seemed to go well, you say one thing and then they shut down. Or it could be you laughing with somebody and they're going back and forth and you like, oh, that's not funny.
Right.
Well, because you went near your sacred box. See, so a lot of the things that we went through forces us to put things in our sacred box and protect them more. So what we have to do is realize, okay, when I'm in an area of defense, why am I defending? Why did I go into a form of protection? So instead of saying, I don't like that and blah, 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 take a moment and say, okay, this just ticked me off. Why am I mad? I'm uncomfortable. Why am I uncomfortable? And so what you'll begin doing is what we call uncovering. You'll begin to uncover that the way that you're responding is really deferred reaction or referred reactions. And that's not the point. Meaning, I don't think it's funny. Like, you may not like gay jokes because you were molested, and it has something to do with, like, with me, I don't like any gay jokes. I think that it's not funny because for the longest, because I was molested, I was like, oh, I thought every person thought I was gay. So for me, I'm like, don't do gay jokes. I don't think that they're funny, but now I can laugh at things and have more of a sense of humor because they don't affect me that way. And when, you know what I mean? Like, and when we use things, now I find myself clarifying it more. Like, somebody will say something like, you call somebody gay or call somebody a woman, like those are the lowest things to be in life.
Wow.
So why would I be offended anyway? Like, okay, so now if somebody call you gay or somebody say you ain't like a girl, okay. Like, that's really something that's going to hinder me from moving forward. So when you start to uncover, you'll realize that that's where the source of a lot of your hangups come from. but that's also the root to certain things that you have forgotten about, didn't know existed, because you buried them on purpose, because you needed to protect them, because people began to take things that you value.
Wow. They got close to you said the sacred, it's called the sacred box, right? They got close to it. I guess when we put up that defense, that means that something offended us, right? So when we
Something
put
of
up that
value was threatened.
something of value, something of
Was
value
threatened.
was threatened, and we get angry, and instead of trying to figure out what was attacked, right? What was attacked, or what was the thing that is causing us to respond this way? That's powerful. Like I love the way. So is that something that you guys do in your courses? Like,
Yeah.
because the way you talk, like you said, you're an educator, and the way you break things down on the show today, you're just, you're educating us, you're teaching us something, even when, you have your idea, you bring it in the form of like, hey, let me show you something. Let me enlighten you. And I love it. So tell us about the courses that Love is a Parable. I wanted to get that out there so that if people are interested, they hear what you're saying and they're like, I want whatever he's selling or whatever he has. I want to be a part of it. Can you go ahead and just tell them what you offer in your courses briefly?
Yeah, we offer several different courses. The best way to do it is go to loveisaparable.com, click on education, and you'll see our bedrock is our love advocacy training. And that's an 8-week program, which consists of 5 weeks of instruction. We meet 1 day a week for about an hour and a half. And then we have a break for 2 weeks to do what is called a kindness project, come back in the 8th week for graduation. But that is designed to help people identify love, uncover who they truly are, and uncover, like, we go through so many different exercises where we rethink, regroup, and you learn essentially how love answers, lifts, and opens, and how that is directly linked to Love is a Parable and directly linked to your sacred box. And it was a great time to really take advantage of that, because we've evolved even more to where we have a second training manual, which is called ampersands and commas, which goes into, because a lot of people were asking, okay, now that I take this class, what do I do next? How do I communicate this? How do I live this? How do I have this? And so now we're about to revamp that whole program to show them not only how to identify it, how to develop the lifestyle, but also how to live it daily. And we want to keep that going.
Yeah.
But that's our bedrock program, the Love Advocacy Program. And then we have what are called value-based workshops, which are nothing more, like, a lot of people call them biases, but let's be honest, biases are nothing more than values that have gotten a dirty rap.
Implicit biases and stuff, right?
Right. That's really values. If I go into a healthcare clinic and I see that they're not credentialed and I leave, we'll say, oh, that's smart of you, right? We don't look at that and say, oh, that you biased to people who are not educated. You're like, no, that's a smart one, right? But now if I switch it and I decide to go into a place and they have people that I may not particularly care for, they'd be like, oh, that's bad.
Yeah.
It's still a value. It's just a value that may be negative or perceived negative versus a value that is perceived positive. And it seemed like we only call values that are perceived negative bias. We don't call values that are perceived positive as values or bias.
Yeah.
So we just help people examine their values on a particular area, because there may be areas of focus, and show them how those values shape the way they see themselves and others.
Yeah. I love that. Shaping
workshops and all that, man.
So the workshop, you said free work, you guys do free workshops, or you guys do workshops?
Yeah,
like, what is there?
All.
So when they take the love advocacy training, is it paid or is it free? Like, what's the process for the workshops and the training?
Yes, there is a paid version, but they and the prices are up there. But it's not odd if we offer something like, for instance, one of the classes that we did in Fuquay, we just had a business to say, hey, I want to sponsor this class. And so we'll let them know, hey, this is free, sign up here. Because the thing is not about the money. The thing for us is about the impact. Okay,
great. I love that. And that's the passion behind Love is a Parable, is making that impact, that community, the community engagement is so powerful. And, like, I really look up to you, man. I look up to you. Like, I've been looking at your stuff, and like, I'm just like, man, like, like I said, I did Live and Love, the nonprofit. I was like, man, you're where in 2015, I saw myself going. So just to let you know that you are where the 2015 Alan Simmons wanted to be. So thank you for walking in your purpose and walking it out well, because you're showing me still that it is possible. So I really do appreciate you for walking in your purpose. I'm not trying to gas you up, bro. Like, you are very powerful, and I recognize the gift that's within you and how you're helping other people activate that same gift and activate the awakening within them. And just a fun fact, I want to throw this out here real quick. At the age of 14, you talked about, poetry, but you didn't say when you start. At the age of 14, that's the young age he's talking about. That's when he became a motivational speaker and a poet, as well as a singer, dancer, and actor. Like, come on, like, anybody, like, so you're going to teach people dance and sing? Do you teach singing too? You said educator, so do
No,
you?
I done saw you dance, so I laugh because I was like, I'm not gonna pop and lock, because at my age, something will pop out of place.
Something will pop out of place. It won't pop back in. But I love the fact that, see, singing, I actually want to become a singer one day. I come in my house all the time singing. My wife just be like, shut up, right? Put her headphones on. I'm just like, she's like, you just need some training. So one day I will be a singer. I just got to get the training. So we're going to be patient about that. All right.
We'll go for it. The funny thing is, that organization that I was in a group called Creative Impressions. I was one of the founding members, and they're still going strong. Like, they go worldwide. Like, we used to just go up and down the Mason-Dixon line, but not now. Them jokers going overseas and everything. Yep. So
that's crazy.
Creative Impressions in Augusta, Georgia. They doing big things.
That's dope. In Augusta, Georgia. Check them out. And I wanted to, so you have a brother empowerment on Thursdays, right? 8:30.
Yep. On Thursdays, we're taking a break right now.
Okay.
Yeah, last Wednesday, I'm still, when you talk about devastation, remember I talked about that. I got some devastating news that I'm still processing through.
Yeah.
Because it kind of just knocks you off your cell. So we're going to take a break, and then we're going to regroup. Soon we're going to give it about 2 more weeks, and then we're going to start back fresh. We just got to get some things.
No doubt. I mean, that mental health is everything. How do you keep up with? Do you still write as much as you used to, or what are you doing to, like, maintain a good state of your mind?
Bro, that's a very good question, because I do still write, though, to answer your question. We actually are in the process of completing a poetry workshop we did for some youth down in Garner.
Yeah.
And they perform on the 1st. But yes, we still write. Yes, I still pray. And I think it's a combination of that. And what I found out, what has really helped me more than anything, is just be honest with how I'm feeling.
Yeah.
Like, when people text you and say, how you doing? And you say, I'm good. You say, no, today's a rough day.
Right.
I'll say today's a rough day, and I'll be honest with them, or I will let them know how I'm doing. And so sometimes now my therapy comes out through seeing a therapist, for one.
Yeah.
Don't be ashamed to see a therapist. Don't be ashamed to talk to your doctor about the feelings that you're having. Don't be ashamed to talk to people that are closely connected to you about what you're feeling. But also create avenues where you can be transparent, because you don't know how that can help somebody else. Like our videos that we do, our podcasts that we do, sitting on shows like yours that we do, making those connections, building those bridges, and being 100% open to whatever opportunity presents itself for just healing.
Yeah. I love that. It forges healing. And I could tell that you're not done yet. Like, you and your wife, you guys are going to have you guys are going to create a big impact in this world. I could already see it, and you guys are already doing it. But I just see the greater that's coming. Like, I see the streams that are developing, that are getting through the roadblocks. I can see it for you guys. So I just want to encourage you and your wife and your family and your friends that are running your organization. And you guys have 2 organizations. So, like, I just want you guys to stay encouraged and know that you guys are going to push through this roadblock. So I'm glad you're taking your break, and that whenever you get back, I know things are just going to it's going to flow. It's going to flow. So believe that it's going to flow. That's what I wanted to tell you right there. So, He said, I heard Forge. Yeah, you heard Forge. You heard Forge. So we're about to wrap it up. We're about to wrap it up because we got thrown off earlier. If you guys didn't know, we got thrown off earlier because I tried to play some gospel rap music just to keep the people happy out here. But I appreciate Jay Dwayne for sticking with me. Because it happens. When we have a business, when you're doing things, you start to see behind the curtains. Like you start to see, well, his light may be broken over here, or maybe his camera is jacked up now because it dropped when he was getting ready to start the podcast. Like there's different things that happen when you're being purposeful in your life. So I just want to encourage all of you who are living this purposeful life. Please don't give up because of roadblocks. Please don't give up because of under construction roads that you are traveling down in your journey called purpose. So we're reaching the end, and I wanted to get into the walking and your purpose. I know there was when we started the conversation, I loved how we started off because it was authentic and it wasn't scripted. But I wanted to get to this script real quick so that I can make sure that I serve you well before we get off here. So I want to go here. Walking in your purpose. We've already talked about faith, but ministry. So like you're a minister and you're an educator. How do you operate? I want to ask this as a Christian man. Like, how do you operate in excellence as a Christian businessman? Like, how do you operate in excellence as a Christian businessman?
Well, the first thing is my faith is personal to me.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the first thing that I have to realize. A lot of times people put their faith on the front street, but it's not applied to them. It's no intimacy when it comes to their faith. And so I don't try to have my faith to represent itself to me. I try to represent myself to my faith.
I like that.
I'd rather be that person to be what people say, what is your faith? What is it that you do? Like, why is it? Than the person where I'm sitting there saying, they're like, there he go again. So I don't do that. And
right.
I believe everything that happens for a reason. Everything that's meant to be will be. And I believe that true living on faith is launching out your net and truly stepping into the unknown without you know what? And you will question it. You're like, why am I doing this? But it's not necessarily knowing how things will perform. Just know that things will perform.
Yeah.
It's not how. We try to control so many things, but don't control it. Allow it to happen. And so what I try to do is realize that as long as I do what I'm purposed to do, purpose will take care of purpose. And though I may want something for myself, it may not be the appropriate time. And so I make sure that I find my path and I find my way and just repeating my purpose. Because sometimes when you get upset, you say other things that can actually see words have power. So you can say other things that can affirm your destruction, or you can say things that can affirm your blessings. And so what I choose to do now in my life is speak only that purpose. So no matter how frustrated I am, I speak to that purpose. I don't speak to my frustration. I don't speak to my pain. And so that's how I stay balanced. So when people say things, I will say, I don't usually justify it. If I say it's not a good business move for us, it's not a good business move for us.
Yeah.
Some people will say, oh, you're so stuck up, or you this. It's not a good business move for us.
Yeah. So you just tell it like it is.
Yeah, it's just not a good business move. Let them draw their conclusion, because I don't have to define that, but I do control what come out of this mouth, and I have to make sure that I protect purpose as much as I can.
Right. Come on. I mean, I'm gonna have to get on the squad. I'm gonna have to get on the squad with the Love is a Parable squad out here, man, because I'm loving it. You're speaking to my spirit. And I love it because like a lot of times we question, the journey. We question it because of what we've been through, or what we're currently going through. And we wonder, like, well, am I really supposed to be on this path, or is this even purpose? Because this broke is not feeling like purpose, like we're really just down because of where we are, and a lot of like this year has passed. A lot of people have been lost. I no longer have grandparents anymore. Like I'm in the season of my life where I'm looking at my life in a different perspective, and purpose is meaning something different to me. And then even my faith as a Christian man is meaning something different, because I was that guy that was evangelizing, like ministering the word. Oh, Jesus, everybody got to go to Jesus, right? I was on that for a long time. But I started to shift when I started to shift towards love, and I started to shift towards understanding the heart of God. Because even though I will never completely fully grasp the concept of what God, the whole entity of God being and how they behave, I will never fully grasp it. But what do I really feel? What do I really believe? How do I really want to portray that to the world? So I've decided as well to let my life be a light. I just say, so my relationship, people be like, oh, I have friends who are atheists, Muslim, and Buddhist, like people from all around the world. And I want them to, oh, I love Alan. And people are like, oh, he's a Christian. So what? I love Alan. Like, I love what he's about. I love his energy. I love when he's around. Even when he talks about his faith, I love him because it's coming from a place of love, right? So definitely thank you for sharing that. So we got some comments. If you guys have any questions, please let us know. We're wrapping it up. I don't want to keep them too long. I don't want to get him in trouble. He got a whole family out there. He a whole married man, whole daddy. He a whole daddy, y'all. He a whole daddy. So let me let y'all know. So and I love that design. You said your brother created that logo, right?
No, yeah, I designed it. My brother, it's so funny. Me and him both are graphic artists. My brother's a better one than me. He did the perfected version of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, we went with his rendition of it, but I designed it. And he was like, let me see that. And then he added his. And I was like, you know what? It do look a little bit better.
Yeah. I love it. Elijah Stewart's on here. He said, join the team. I might have to join the team. That's your bro?
Well, yeah. I mean, that's my brother. Yep.
Okay. Peace. Oh, that's the one we're talking about right now?
Huh? No.
Okay.
That's a brother in the faith too.
Okay, brother in the faith. Okay, what's up, brother? How you doing, Elijah?
Love is a Parable. Tara, she's on our advisory committee team as well.
Okay, whole squad in here.
Yeah, when I ain't know what we were doing with Love is a Parable.
Yeah,
she was there in the beginning. Like,
yeah,
yeah,
that's dope, and it's dope that you've had those people that are by your side, building the dream that you guys had, you and your wife had. Like, that's so beautiful. Like, and that's something that I see. Like, so what advice would you tell Alan Levi Simmons here, the guy that's building all of his platforms by himself, and the guy that's, my heart is to have a team. My heart is to have people on my squad that's helping me build my purpose, the purpose pod, running things, right? What advice do you have for people like me who are doing all of it on our own? Like, what do you got to tell me?
Well, the first thing is stop saying you're doing it on your own.
Okay.
Because as long as you see that you're doing it on your own, you're going to look at it as you're on your own. So when people are coming there to help you, you're already telling them that, no, I want to do this on my own.
You're right.
So that's the first part, and start speaking to your organization in third person. People used to think that was so crazy.
Yeah.
But I started saying like we when I think about Love is a Parable, because when we first started, it was mostly just me and my wife. But now it truly is it's about 30 or 40 of us that run deep, that help us get things done, that we can rely on one another. We can support one another. The list goes on and on. So Love is a Parable is no longer me.
Yeah.
It's definitely we. And it started with that. And I remember when one person was saying, you saying we like it's a whole team. And I'm like, it is.
Come on, I'm gonna start saying we then. It's not just me, it's a we thing, because it's real. And you were just saying, come on, Alan, stick with the program, right? You were just talking about the power of word, like using our words. So I'm learning, teacher. I'm learning. Y'all see this right now. It's real life. This is why you gotta sign up right now. Because he's teaching. He's an educator. he's teaching. I love it. And I saw something meaningful as Jim. He said, can you recite some of your work right now? Can you recite something? If you got a little, so do you have something that you like to share? Anything you want to share? He wants to hear some of your work. He's a poet as well, so he wants to hear your.
Don't be trying to come on here and be schooling me and be like, let me see what he can do.
Now he's starting off. He want to be encouraged by you. That's all, probably.
Look, he like, let me see what this young man. Let me see what this young man.
And you mentioned earlier, he was talking about how singers don't like to sing all the time, and then poets don't like to do poetry all the time. But I don't know if you want to. You don't have to now. You might have to go on YouTube and just pull it up. You know, Love is a Parable on YouTube, and I know there's some stuff on there. But if you want to do something, this is your stage, brother. What do you want to do?
Okay, we can do one real quick.
Okay, that's what I'll talk about. Come on, he ain't go back down.
Look,
he didn't call him out. He couldn't back down.
He's about recite one real quick. Like,
yeah, real quick. Recite something real quick. Say something for me.
I'm sitting here about to lose it. My flesh is telling me to cool it, but the spirit is telling me to fuel it. I'm struggling with the inner me, the valuable centerpiece. The inner piece is attempting to corrupt me subtly by the enemy. I'm empty, dry heaving into this pseudo bow. This is that they call the holy vow, as I vow never to feel this, yet this has me at a standstill of might over will. But what is it that I feel? I'm so angry to the point of performing self-inflicted homicide. No, not suicide, but homicide, because one way or another, the flesh must die. That's it, a carnal genocide with my staff and my rods by my side. This is a serious matter when we have preachers procreating perversion, leading fleshly conversions, molesting the innocent, robbing virtue, crowning Judas, slaying Peter, telling Mary not to weep while trying to lay with her between the sheets, raping purity with the storehouse meats, and yes, it creeps. Go on and on from sermon to song, making the adverse the verse. The pulpit is now a stage to perform like a sold-out arena with hidden agendas, tarnishing the nation and labeling the Christian coalition, assassinating the Hebrew manifestation and trying to remove the spiritual association, leaving casualties, entitling it healing for the nations. But what's really going on when we're hurting for a solution, choking off of the lack of evolution? But my heart is racing towards revolution while suffocating in the midst of all this confusion. This is a mere illusion, but yeah, I need you. I'm wrestling and I won't let go until you bless me. I'm wrestling. I need you. I won't let go until you bless me. I'm wrestling. I'm reflecting while collecting fragments of reality, removing former passions of idolatry. I'm placing them in a box, signing it, forgive me not, confessing the blessings that I got, leaving the wishes to rot, conflicting with the inner hell gets hot, asking constantly for questions because it seems that I have the only answers, just praying to make life better. Yes, much, much better. I have aligned my letter with the life of the contents of the letter, changing my curses to cures, a remnant of the pure, birthing stability to endure. I'm awakened to living this revelation of what I must do with this set apart residue. Here it is to fuel through my testimony, and it seems that I am the only one to feel this, taste this, want this, believe this. See, I'm tired of the righteous being seen as controversial, while the erroneous is being accepted as the majority, as if it is the rule, but only to fools. Yet we, the called out chosen ones who know the truth, are seen as less than, but in Yahweh trust. And still there's a secret that we must watch. Why must I cry in the dark, seeing that the closets burst open with skeletons falling by the piles in the reflection of crooked smiles? Is this really worth my while to stay here for a while, to tarry here for a while, to pray here for a while, to suffer on the spiritual trial? It feels like I'm walking the last mile. Y'all, I need you for all it's worth. I'm no longer a stain from birth, because I'm wrestling. I'm wrestling. I need you. I won't let go until you bless me. I'm wrestling. until you change my name. That's it.
Woo! Come on. I'm about to kick your tail, boy. Let me find some. I done threw my hat over there. I done lost my wig. I'm just man, look. That was come on, everybody. That was you was getting mad love. Come on, let them know. That was beautiful. Very Jim, you asked for it. And he tried to act. This is what I just gotta mention right now. He tried to act like he had nothing in the clip. He had full clips ready to roll. He was ready. He had it. He knew I was gonna ask him this question tonight. He knew Jim was gonna ask. It had to be because he snapped. He snapped. That's all I got to say. He snapped. I'm glad you did that on the Purpose Pod because I'm able to just play that over and over. I'm about to. Can I put that up when I make my snippets? Can I do little snippets of it? Can I make little snippets of it? Is that
fine? You can.
All right, cool. So Jim, thank you so much for asking that question. We appreciate you, dog. Wonderful. We're getting a lot of love out here. So I definitely want to get to this point and I respect Matt. So open mic, you coming to the open mic when I do an open mic, you gotta. I'm starting. I got a writer's workshop Thursdays. Like, come on. All right, so you here? You just did that. I can't let you slide. We're gonna talk, man. I'm sorry. We're gonna talk. We're gonna have to have some lunch and talk because I can't let you slide like that. You just dropped that. All right. Anyway, so everybody, I'm just so amazed. I love poetry. I love art, and I love words. So it's just. I'm just so wrapped up into what you just did and what you just dropped that I'm ready to like replay that over again and just soak it in because that was powerful. So thank you once again, Jay Dwayne, for dropping it. That was very, very powerful. Wifey, my wife says, great job. That is amazing. Elijah says, bless me with a name. Come on. Wonderful. So we're getting down to the last drop of the Purpose Pod. And I had to ask this question because of the title of the show. We were talking about healing forward. And a lot of what we're talking about is just looking at your journey and understanding those different signs on the road and understanding when you're at the roadblock or making that U-turn or when you have to diverge from the road that you're on or even just take a break like Jay Dwayne is doing right now, taking a break. Taking a moment to reflect, only accepting the things that he can hold, the capacity that he has. I'm glad that he has the capacity to do this interview. So thank you for that, for doing this on this break that you're on right now. So I wanted to just real quick, we're about to do a little speed round real quick. How have you learned to heal forward throughout your life in a sense? And I wanted to use heal forward. So how have you learned to heal forward? I know we talked about poetry. I know we talked about music. I know we talked about all of that, but what is that answer for how have you learned to heal forward throughout your life?
Oh, when I stop allowing my sickness or my ailments to define me or stop me. Sometimes we go through so many things and we stop at the diagnosis. We're like, oh, I got this, and we stop. Versus saying, and, you're going to go through a lot. And if we're going to be deeply spiritual for a minute, the enemy will try to take everything. I don't care what you're talking about. Every single thing to stop you from doing your purpose. But you remember your purpose. One of the profound things that a lot of people miss, the Heavenly Father gave Satan permission to torment Job. Two very important things. Job lost his family. Job lost his wife. Then Job got boils.
Job got boils. I missed. So you about to teach me something. Let me go ahead. Come on.
Job got boils. And here's the thing. Job said, the very thing that I feared came upon me. So it wasn't that the Heavenly Father gave him permission. Job gave Satan permission to enter into his life. Why? Because the very thing that he feared happened to him. So he allowed his fear to manifest in his life.
Wow.
But when he rectified that fear, The father restored everything. So he got a new wife, he got new kids, but he didn't take away the boils. Why? Because the pain didn't matter, because he healed forward. So there are going to be things that's going to come into your life that may leave scar tissue, but that still is not going to stop you from moving forward. So you may lose everything that you think is of value today, but that doesn't mean that he won't give you a greater value tomorrow.
Come on.
And so you cannot stop at the diagnosis. You can't stop at what they tell you. And so many people stop as soon as they find out something. Now it's like, okay, we got to move forward. We got to move forward. And so the only way you can do that, heal forward. Don't stop and heal. Like people be like, oh, well, I got to stay here and heal. No, heal forward. Because if you live a true life of healing, it promotes health. If you go through scripture and you look at anybody who was sick, he says, your faith has made you whole. That is a lifestyle. That is a lifestyle of healing, not a singular miraculous event. Even when he cured the woman with the issue of blood, she told him, I have suffered by the hands of the physician, but then I went and I said unto myself, if I go and touch the hem of his garment, I'll be made whole. And he countered that and said, your faith has made you whole. Not touching my garment didn't make you whole. Not getting me didn't make you whole. It was your faith that made you whole. Your faith is a lifestyle. So heal forward. You got to continue to deal with whatever the diagnosis is in your life. And I'm not talking about just physical sickness. I'm talking about spiritual sickness. I'm talking about the illusion of sickness. I'm talking about when people come into your life who act sickly. I'm talking about people who are trying to take your wife, people trying to take your kids. I'm talking about people who are trying to take your family. You talk about you lost your grandmama. You know what? And you don't have any grandparents, but guess what? He will give you new grandparents.
Yeah.
People that you didn't even think what happened. You like, how did that happen? Right. I can tell you this because I lived this. My mama kicked me out of the house when I was a kid. I was homeless as a kid. My daddy rejected me, but guess what? Me and my mom, not only did we reconcile, but I got 4 mamas that I can go to right now. The community gave 4 mamas in addition to my own mama. I didn't have daddies, but I got 2 daddies that I can call on right now in this moment. Why? Because he will give you something greater, because I didn't focus on my sickness. I didn't focus on my lack. I just continued to move forward.
Come on. Man. You sure you ain't got no church today? You open up on Sunday. Oh, hey, he opening up on Sunday. We coming with Facebook, YouTube, live, church, J. Dwayne. Love is a Parable Ministries. Open at 11 a.m. Sunday mornings. Come get the word. Come get the word. Come get the word. My God, man, that's powerful. I love that answer. I'm glad I asked. See, I'm glad I didn't just pass that and be like, oh no, I gotta hurry up. I'm glad I asked that question. Thank you so much. All right, and then, what's the best way for our listeners to support you and your wife with Altar and Dwelling Place Incorporated and Love is a Parable?
You know, a lot of people always talk about money, but to be honest, money without outreach means nothing. Tell people about us, connect with us. When you see opportunities where we can talk about culture, diversity, equity, and inclusion, if you see opportunities where people need some type of reconciliation, if you see professional arenas where they are struggling with the cultural dynamics, productivity, sales, the list goes on, consider Love is a Parable. Don't put us in a box. Realize that there are so many different things that a value-based education can do. Spread the word, share this podcast, share anything. Visit loveisaparable.com. Buy some swag. The list goes on. Buy some books. I mean, the list goes on of the ways that you can help. And if you click donate at Love is a Parable, don't go automatically and just give your money. Look at our strategic plan for the next 5 years so you'll know where those resources are going. You might be able to help us get there sooner.
Right. Come on. I like that. I'm gonna definitely have to look into that stuff and see how I can support. But Love is a Parable. Did I do that right? I'm over here spelling stuff wrong today. I got that right. Yeah, I got that right. Okay, we good. Okay. I'm over here like, did I do that wrong? But loveisaparable.com. Look at the click the donate button. But like he said, before you donate, do the research, look at their website. It's an awesome website, by the way. I looked at the website. I love how you have the team broken down and everything. I was ready to take some screenshots so I can prepare my website. It's like how y'all. So hey, look, when I see some good stuff, I'm taking notes and I'm going to. You're going to see it. If you see something that you did before, like if it looks like, oh man, that kind of look like my website, be like, well, you inspired me, brother. But
Look, have at it, bro.
But I love it, and I definitely want to get involved with Love is a Parable. While Live in Love is kind of just sitting right now, my nonprofit is sitting. I would definitely I'm definitely going to connect with. We're going to get some lunch and we're going to talk and figure out how, you know,
Let's do it.
This relationship is going to build further. But my last question is, what do you want?
We're gonna resurrect.
Oh, we're gonna resurrect. Come on, speak the power.
I mean, I can't have you just sitting there supporting me and you have something that's sitting there.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
We're gonna have to say, look, Talitha Kuma. She only sleeps, wake up.
Talitha Kuma. Yeah, she only sleeps, wake up. That's what's happening. It's gonna, you know what? It's gonna wake up because there's still the purpose in what I was purposed to do with that organization. So definitely. So yeah, we're gonna. I appreciate Dwayne, man. Come on, man. You just touched my heart. I appreciate you. So my last question for you, and I hope you guys are enjoying it. Make sure you like and share. Visit loveisaparable.com. Follow Love is a Parable on Facebook and Instagram. You guys have Twitter?
We on Twitter. Get on over to that TikTok and hit them buttons.
Yeah. So y'all go ahead.
On TikTok, LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram. We also are on Spotify. Our Brother Pirate podcast is on Spotify. It's 5 other ones that I can't remember. Yeah. So the best thing to do is go to Love is a Parable, go to the bottom of the screen and hit all of those social media icons. Okay. YouTube, of course, too. Yeah. Like, follow, subscribe.
Like, follow, subscribe in that order. Like, follow, subscribe. People, it's only by a click of a button. When you guys are ordering food, you got to go through like 9 different things. Do you want onions, ketchup, all that stuff? We just asking you guys to like, comment, share, and you don't have to say anything about it. Just share it. So the last question, walking in your purpose, I want to ask you, what do you want your legacy to be?
My legacy, more than anything, is I want people to know. I want to be the example of being empty. I don't want to die full of nothing or have any residue of anything. I want to exhaust every ounce of my being into purpose and into everything that I'm supposed to be doing. Yeah. And I want to make sure that we make that. Don't be selfish with your gift, that we make that the new norm, the new narrative is that we pour out our gifts into the land, into the world, into everybody who comes in contact with us, that we don't wait for that one big opportunity to show people what we can do. Do it now. Some of my best videos have 72 views.
Yeah, right. Come on. Talk to me.
And then you don't think that works. So I want to tell you something. Love is a Parable, actually, the true organization I started in March of 2007.
Okay.
So we didn't get the full vision of it until June of 2017. So wow. 10 years and 3 months it took for that manifestation to happen. And even when we started it, it wasn't until 4 years later we understood what we were supposed to be doing.
Wow.
So that is 14 years of being in an incubator.
Yeah.
And so when people look at it sometimes and they will say, oh, y'all just started. No, we didn't just start. This thing has been cooking for 14 years. So when stuff come out, it's going to be hot. Why? Because imagine something being on simmer for 14 years, marinating for 14 years. So if you have ideas and people are saying like, I have this thing, let it develop on its own. Don't rush it, because if it's premature, it will die.
Facts. Come on.
Take your time with it. And so when it come out, that's why when people, sometimes you do have occasional people who question it, and you have to let them know this is not a hobby. I'm not a hobbyist. this is purpose filled. I'm not doing this because it is just a hobby of mine. I'm doing this because I put sweat equity in it, education into it. My life work is into it. The list goes on and on. I worked for this.
Yeah. I love it. You're so encouraging. You just awoken a couple of sleeping dreams and ideas that have been dormant because I've continued to move forward, heal forward in my life. But you just made me think about the things that I did leave, kind of behind because I had to move forward. And you're helping me realize that I need to speak those things forward. I need to continue to speak those things and see those things forward while I'm moving forward. It's almost like, you're like, all right, I'm about to be up there. Let me throw this dream up there because, I know it's going to happen eventually, but let me make sure I'm just moving forward. So that's what I thought of when you said that. I'm a visionary. I see things. So I just saw me throwing my dreams in the future and just walking in my purpose now and getting there. So thank you so much for that. I appreciate that. How much is that going to charge me? But I'm because I'm going to make things happen, bro. I'm going to make things happen. I'm going to become blessed off of that. I'm going to make sure I bless Love is a Parable. When I get blessed, I'm going to bless y'all. Y'all heard it on here on the Purpose Pod. When I throw that, I threw it over there now. I'm throwing it. I'm going to walk into it. Y'all going to see it. So Jay Dwayne Garnett, I thank you so much for joining us on the Purpose Pod. I wanted to ask if you have any closing words. Do you want to say anything to your friends, families out there right now? Any special announcements that you want to make before we get off here? I give you this floor right now.
Definitely. I would like to solicit your prayers. Just pray for me and my family. Pray for, just continue to pray for unity, love, and kindness. Pray for those who are connected to me. Because, like when everybody goes through something, even the ones you're connected to feel the ripple effects of that.
Yeah.
So definitely pray for that. But also, guys, one thing that I always leave, remember, imperfection only exists in comparisons. You're perfect until you compare yourself to somebody else. You're not a flawed design. Nothing is wrong with you. You are perfect the way that you are. Just don't compare.
Wow. Just don't. Man, I'm gonna throw my phone at you when I see you. I'm gonna just see you and I'm gonna hit you with the phone. You gonna be like, Alan, what you doing? Because I'm like, you speaking all that truth, man. You gotta get something thrown at you. Somebody gotta get mad. Somebody, the person in the church, get off my foot, pastor. This man, bro, I had a brother in church back in the day. He used to say that, get off my foot, pastor. Like, yeah, you're on my foot. Come on, I feel you. But yes. Thank you so much, Jay Dwayne. I really do appreciate you. And I look forward to connecting with you and growing with you here in the RCP area and to continue to see you and your wife and your family and friends grow in Love is a Parable. And I'm just looking forward to be of assistance and of help and of encouragement as we've now forged this connection. So whatever you need, just let me know and I'll be there, brother. And community service, stuff like that. I love it. That's what I do. So that's where my heart is. And you guys make sure, like he said, you go on loveisaparable.com and you will find everything you need, all the information you need about the organization, about who he is, and about how you can help and about how you can get those courses. We want to make sure that you guys do your research, look into the courses that they have, look into what they offer, the programs, so that you can better yourself for your future, for your present time. Actually, you want to better yourself for the now. So, Jay Dwayne, thank you once again. Make sure you guys check out Love is a Parable. This is Jay Dwayne Garnett. Peace. So I'll be with you in a second, Jay Dwayne. I'm gonna close out. Okay.
All right. Thank you, brother.
All right. Thank you. So thank you all so much for watching the Purpose Pod. I hope that you guys really enjoyed this interview. We're getting a lot of love. Meaning Forge says, great interview, Alan. Keep it up. Jay, love it. Awesome. We appreciate all of you for just dropping your comments tonight. Make sure you go and support Love is a Parable and make sure you support yourself by getting involved, because Jay Dwayne just came on here and dropped so much fire and so much love. So this has been another episode of the Purpose Pod, and I am your host, Alan Levi Simmons, Mr. Never Stop, Never Quit, Repeat himself. I just wanted to send a few things on here. So make sure you guys check out Stand Back Music. We had an interview last time. Make sure you guys go and rewatch this interview with Dwayne Garnett. Love is a Parable, Healing Forward. Make sure you guys go watch my old interview with the Bro Code. Make sure you guys check in with Dwayne Garnett. Make sure you guys check up on Hey Ty app and Petty Gigs. And Love is a Parable. Lastly, unity, love, and kindness. Our mission is to promote unity, love, and random acts of kindness while providing love, education, love, advocacy, and love, wellness. So this has been another episode of the Purpose Pod. I am your host, Alan Levi Simmons. Peace.